Good afternoon and welcome back. We are here again with you, and today is very interesting, I think. It's going to be a pretty interesting day and pretty busy. We have, instead of one, we're going to have two guests today, and they're going to help us with all the things that we want to present to you. But before we get into the meat of the matter, the big stuff, we're going to have Randy do a station identification.
Station identification.
Station. Okay.
Am I the only one? That was like phantom intro music.
I didn't hear anything till I heard vaguely the voice of the medical. It was awful. I didn't say anything, but I was saying, is anything going on out there? Because I didn't hear anything at all. Nothing.
Hello, people. OrionTalkRadio.com and Micro 1650 in Tonawanda, New York. And everybody listening on TalkStream Live on Spreaker.com and on TalkSuperstation.com.
Yeah. Yes. It's always good.
The newest edition.
Yeah, it's always good to have new edition. Remember when we were at Liberty News Radio and we kept getting all these new stations? Of course, they had to chop that off and put an end to that one. But anyway, that's just the way it goes. Anyway. So what has been going on this week? Well, a lot of things in the news, the usual stuff, the usual things, the usual pressure on people to accept what's available in cancer and how great it is and how good it is for you to be poisoned and or mutilated and all these things. And we'll go over on it quite a bit. And of course, other things. One of other things that went on, secondary things that went on, was Howard Neiman finally had some other show, and he got back Janet Fallon on his show, and she was discussing again conservatorship and the things that went on. And
well, the man apparently died a couple of weeks ago.
Right, and exactly what I said it would happen. And she said, I didn't know anything, and I didn't know conservatorship. I did not know the law, and I did not know the rules. And I do know what nursing homes do. I do know. It's not that I don't know. I've seen it so many times. It's pathetic. And I told her exactly what I said it would happen. It did. And the sad part about it that she's talking about, and I don't really know what she means when she says junk. Imposter drugs. I don't know what she means by that. And Howard was trying to bring in the big pharma, but she dropped that. And I don't know what she meant by that. But when she described what happened to this guy that died, she said, I don't know what went on because he sent me a fax in the evening, and then it was reported that he died that day. So I don't know what went on. And it is pretty obvious what went on, what I said it would happen, because all people that go into that situation, they end up being euthanized, made comfortable with morphine. And what morphine does, the way they administer, is that a moment you're there and you're talking to a relative, you're talking to a person, in this case you're sending a fax, and the next moment, because there's the time release amount that gets into your body, and the next moment your heart stops and you stop breathing. So
really? I thought that was imposter morphine.
Well, I guess. Yeah.
I thought that was imposter pharmaceuticals that did that.
Yeah, right. But it's the typical, and then you have seen it too. Remember that case? You have seen it. The guy was talking. Remember. Yeah, the guy was talking, and all of a sudden, poof. And now the patient that told me that's what happened. They were talking, and all of a sudden, gone. Morphine does that, and it is used by the medical establishment to make patient comfortable, even the ones that don't want to be made comfortable because they're fine. So abuses are going on from left to right, and nobody is stepping in and trying to stop it. On the other hand, good FDA that is out there for the good of the public to watch out what happens and warn you about bad things going on. What?
Drugs are bad, okay.
So what FDA does is those raids like we had last summer and take everything so you cannot make a living. doesn't really have enough justification to close you down, but still everything you have, so you cannot operate anyway and put an end to what you're doing. But then that's not enough. And then it starts harassing you again, and the harassing is stepping up again, and the accusations are unbelievable. But anyway, for that, to discuss all of this, we got two friends coming in today. It is, Barbara Hartwell. She has been with us many times, and she's back again today. Hi, Barbara. Hi, are you there? She must have gone to get it.
Sorry. No, I had the microphone muted. I'm sorry.
There she is.
I'm here.
Okay. And then the other one is John Connor, and you know him because we have been guests to his show, Canada Live, several times. But hi, John.
Hey, how's it going?
How's it going, eh?
Yeah, his number.
All right, I got to stop that. That's kind of old. All right.
Like, Ding Anderson.
Ding, ding, Ted Gunderson. Yeah.
You got your Coleman full of Molson and your back bacon.
The Great White North. Okay.
Never been there. It's such a strange thing. People like me, it's like they all they know about Canada is maybe one or two things. In my position, it's like, Geddy Lee and Alex Lifeson. That's what I know about Canada.
Or Queen Elizabeth.
Who's Geddy Lee? Who's that?
Queen Elizabeth coming to Canada as a guest for an anniversary of some kind, and then Karen Burnett teasing her voice and doing a great job at it too. That's what I know about Canada. No, not true. I have had several patients that are Canadian, so.
We just don't know what we're talking about.
Right. But the patient I've had, the Canadian patients, are great. And by the way, they're all doing great too. So.
Well, you were mentioning the morphine problem down in the States. Well, up here in Canada, it's very easy for somebody to go in and get a prescription for morphine or methadone and end up on a lifetime regimen. And that's subsidized basically by the other taxpayers. They have to pay a minimal fee for the drugs. So you've got a lot of people that they're on methadone. They're in their 20s or 30s, and they'll be on this drug for the rest of their life. That's synthetic heroin, basically.
Why?
Or they're on morphine. I don't know why. It's been rampant here for over a decade. It's the legal drug dealers, I call them.
Well, yeah, because it is a drug and it kills you. But a
lot of these people start off on, say, a small dosage of Percocet or something, and then that dosage gets higher and higher till eventually they're on morphine, or they're just on the methadone program.
Yeah.
Where they go down to the pharmacy and get their drink of methadone every day, and they can't function in regular society when they're all drugged out like that. And it's so easy for them up here because they can just go on welfare and join the methadone program, and they get their free synthetic heroin every day.
That's a great life, right? Oh, God. Who would want to have that? I was being sarcastic. I mean, who would want to have that? I know, but the problem is when they start with all this medication, pain control medication, you get addicted, and then your body cannot function without it. Assuming that with it is the way you're functioning. Anyway, and they all end up dying. It's not going to be a long life, okay? Even as for the rest of their life, it's not going to be a very long life. I mean, just awful. But then, there are legal drugs everywhere. I just am trying to figure out what imposter drugs are.
That's when somebody tried to sell you a bag of oregano or something. I don't know.
Well, that would
what
be
imposter drugs would be.
I don't know, but oregano
salvia
has some good points to it. So I mean,
actually, salvia is not an imposter, from what I hear anyway.
Oregano is not either. And by the way, did you know that oregano oil is supposed to make your hair grow back?
Really?
Yeah. Rub it on your scalp. Oh, we got a break. We'll be right back.
Give me some oregano oil.
Yeah, I thought about that. By the way, it's expensive.
Yeah, you can land a helicopter on my head.
Your head is not that big.
A little helicopter. Yeah, we just stepped all over that.
Which one?
We came in on the air in kind of mid-sentence.
Really? Okay. Well, anyway, we're back. And anybody has put the lime in the coconut? Anyway, so what I was saying, well, I don't even know what we were saying when we closed, but the point of the situation is that there is advertising everywhere about how great cancer treatment are today, how effective they are, especially for breast cancer, how great results by mutilating women and poisoning them and burning them with radiation. It's just amazing success. And you should accept that because it's the best thing they have. And of course, with that, there is a large amount of money being changing hands all over the country. So can the government allow somebody to come forth and say, hold it, none of this is needed. None of this is necessary. You don't have to suffer for months and months and months or years and then eventually die. You don't have to do that with the constant fear that you're going to die, which you will, with that type of treatment. Somebody comes forth and says, here it is. It only takes 2 days and the cancer is dead and it cannot continue to grow. It's over. Now, even if you don't remove the lump, because doctors refuse to remove just the lump, they have to mutilate the person. But even if you don't remove the lump, the body will take care of removing the dead tissue. It's just that it's a very slow process and you have to do nothing other than wait. But you're fine. Nothing will happen to you. I just got a call recently from a former patient that came to see me in 2009, and she said that finally hers reacted. Every person is different. Hers is one of the cases that for some reason the skin started seeping through the skin and all this cottage cheese looking substance started coming out, which is dead tissue. But it started coming out and coming out and coming out and nothing would stop it, and it's good that you don't stop it. And then at the end there was nothing left. Gone. And she said, I went through all of this, not even a headache. Nothing. I was never sick. I never had any problem. I never had anything going on. Just at the end, stuff coming out. That's it. And she's 82, by the way. So you know that a person that age would have died with chemo. And the surgery is not exactly what you want to do. But anyway, obviously this cannot be allowed because destroying a very, very good industry. So what does the government do? Raid the place that is offering a natural, simple treatment that resolves the problem in a few days. You raid and take away everything. Operating capital, all the files, all the evidence, and the equipment, everything they have.
Secret adulterated formula for food coloring.
Right. So you have to put an end to that because those are really dangerous adulterated drugs and dangerous adulterated equipment of laser that don't do anything other than heat massage by themselves. So you have to put an end to it. By doing so, the person loses everything, loses everything, not even a home, nothing left.
Is that anything, why don't they give it back to you?
Right. Well, so after losing everything, not just the office, the home, everything, then is that enough? Of course not. So what they have to do is harass some more, go after, and start claims of mail and wire fraud. Mail and wire fraud about what? It wasn't specified yet, so I am not quite sure, but my assumption is mail fraud would be connected with the info packet we send to patients, and wire fraud will be with our website, and possibly this radio show. I don't know, probably.
Oh, they don't like it. They don't like it a bit.
Right, so...
Why did they take your flyers for the radio show when they came and took the
right.
radio show to do. I mean,
they raided and they took the bumper stickers. Yeah. So we decided that we need to inform the public of this outrageous behavior. We need to inform the public because something has got to be done. Otherwise, we're all going to pay, not just this treatment. They're going to want to make it disappear, throw it under the carpet so people will never know that ever existed. So we have two guests, and I want to have their say brought in today, and then we try to spread the word more and more. So we have, as I said, we have Barbara and we have John, and I'm going to turn the microphone to them and see what they have to say on the subject.
Dr. Carpenter, I think John should speak first.
Okay. Go ahead, John. The floor is yours.
Well, I mean, what really strikes me here is the basically what I would call this cancer mafia and their propaganda. And really recently, you have Alan Rose, Miss Washington, D.C., who was running for Miss Universe. I don't know if she ended up winning or if that's taken place or not. But she will be having both her breasts removed as a preventative measure to prevent cancer because some relatives in her family had breast cancer. So she doesn't have cancer, but and they're using her as this big propaganda piece. And I mean, this idea that you have some type of gene and you can prevent cancer by cutting off certain body parts preemptively, like I have a great uncle who had testicular cancer. Does that mean I'm going to go get my testicles removed preemptively just because I'm worried? And this is a propaganda they spew, and then these are the same, people, the same cancer mafia that need to shut down anyone else. They need to shut down their competition while promoting mutilation. And to me, it's so cartoonishly ridiculous. And before this, there was that Dr. Drew show on CNN promoting the same thing. Preemptively removing different body parts to prevent cancer.
A preemptive strike, right? A preemptive strike to slice off body parts on the possibility that you may get cancer.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of what was that video. We did a show. We did a show with you, John, a few months ago, and there was a video going around. You remember it? 2 or 3 women, a couple of women on a panel talking about.
Yeah,
that was the Dr. Drew on CNN. Yeah.
Okay.
So that's what the cancer mafia pushes. It's absolute cartoonish absurdity, and then they turn around and go after anyone offering a different solution.
And they
I find it absurd.
Humira commercial, adalimumab or whatever the hell it's called, and
adalimumab. Yes.
The little disclaimer at the end is as long as the commercial. It's all full of may cause certain kinds of cancer. Ask your doctor.
And your doctor's going to tell you the truth. Your doctor's going to tell you what the salesman of the drug company has told him. And that has no connection at all with reality. But that is not fraud. That is not mail-or-wire fraud. Saying...
Because you have to pay a bunch of people off. And if you don't pay a bunch of people off, then you're fraudulent.
Yeah, but if you say, wait a minute, you don't need any of this. You don't need anything. You don't have to take medication for the rest of your life. You don't have to be mutilated. You don't have to be poisoned. You don't have to be burned by radiation that causes additional cancer. No, they call it metastasis, but it's caused by the medication. You don't have to do any of this. Oh, no, that has to be fraud. It's not possible because you're saying, the mentality is, you're saying that you're curing cancer. And that is not permitted because there is no cure for cancer. And what dictator stated that?
The people that created cancer, in my opinion.
Real alternative radio. We are OrionTalkRadio.com.
Yeah, we should talk about the pattern. Here it comes.
You're listening to The Medical Conspiracy with Dr. Carpenter.
Okay, we're back from the break. At least we heard this one. Coming back, we heard it. Okay, so what we were discussing before the break was basically if you are part of the AMA and you're regularly poisoning people, you can kill them, be totally free to kill them, have no problem and suffer no consequences, no matter what you promised them. Okay? Oh, sure, they've signed all sorts of waivers, but the doctor told them, oh, yeah, well, we do this because this happened to some people, but this will not happen to you, not your case, which is a farce and is a fraud because they cannot make that kind of promise. They don't know how an individual body will respond. So, but they do that, and it's no problem because they're part of the AMA. They are part of the system that is killing you. They are supporting the drug company, so that's fine. But anybody that dares to come forth and say, no, you do not need to do that. Here it is. This is the solution. Well, that person is obviously guilty of fraud and has to be immediately stopped. That's the case of my situation. And when they say it's open fraud, what testing did they do to prove it? Or they were just listening to some people complaining? Because we're only talking about a few people. But people that died because of drug intake, they are on the number of hundreds of thousands. And what does FDA do? Do they raid the pharmaceutical company? Do they take everything away from them, all their means of survival, so they have to close down? And do they threaten them with criminal charges? Do they do that? No. They tell them, oh, you have to put a warning label. This may produce this problem, that problem, and maybe even death. It may. You have to put a warning label that your doctor can easily disregard and say, nah, but that doesn't apply to your case. That is fine, but saying and proving with cases that you can kill cancer without any consequence of any kind and just patient required, nothing else. No, that's not permitted. That's not allowed. That is definitely fraud and has to be put an end to it. And the person has to be tormented, targeted by all sorts of abuses, publicly accused, threatened, harassed beyond belief, hopefully driven to suicide. That's what's happening. And my question is, there are many examples of what's happening. And when people talk about it, only the person like Aaron Schwartz I talked last week, only after they kill himself, they're talking about it and posting his name everywhere. Why can't we step out before tragedy happens? Before somebody gets arrested, before somebody gives up on life? Why don't we do that for the good, not only just that person, everybody?
Well, Dr. Carpenter, that's the whole point. And I should mention that I put up a report on my website. It was on January 24th, okay? And in the report, it's just sort of an overview of a series of events that have taken place, okay? And I also gave links to other reports that I did not write, but that outline the so-called trial in which there was an absurd $2.5 million judgment in which evidence was suppressed, in which, according to what I've read, the judge lied, and you were just railroaded.
Yeah.
Okay? So that's the past, right? That's the past. But now, there's another series of events since then, because you have been targeted. You have been targeted for all kinds of harassment and what I have to call political persecution. I've seen these kinds of cases over and over and over a period of decades. And as a matter of fact, as you know, when I first came on your program, you invited me because you heard me on another program on this network talking about the tactics of the counterintelligence and how they target someone to destroy your life. Okay? And my focus has always been, because I too am a target, okay? And my focus has always been, I don't do this for myself. I do it, well, first of all, I do it for my grandchildren, who I don't want them to grow up in a society where this is what is going on. You know, where there is no liberty, where there's no freedom of choice for somebody to determine their own life and their own health care. All right, but I've investigated dozens of cases of people that have been targeted very similarly. And one of the things that we brought up, okay, and before I get into the appeal for attorneys, okay, appeal for attorneys to represent you. Before I get into that, I want to get into some of the tactics that they use. And one of the tactics that they have used in your case was to recruit neighbors, people that you don't even know, that are your neighbors living there. And suddenly those people are invading your property, making accusations, false accusations, based on false information, slanderous information that they have received from the minions of these government tyrants that are trying to shut you down. Okay, so that happened. And I know Randy told about how they vandalized vehicles.
It was unreal.
Yeah, vandalized vehicles, spray painted obscenities on the vehicles.
Threw garbage on the lawn.
Yeah, broke the windows. Oh, how typical is that? I know how typical it is.
Showing up on the front door, screaming bloody murder.
Well, exactly.
Two different neighbors on two different occasions. One of them bringing a witness and trying to push me to the point of throwing a punch.
Well, first of all, there's two parts to this. One, it's an attempt to intimidate the target, and two, it's an attempt to provoke the target into violence,
right,
so they will have some reason to come and arrest you. Okay? It's happened to me. That has happened to me as well.
Now it's gotten so petty, and nothing has happened in a while, right? Because, of course, in the middle of the summer, that was the big news, and everything has just kind of gone, spiraling down since then. Then, just out of the blue, a couple of days ago, get a door hanger on the front door while I'm at work. Come back, and it's a Wasso, Oklahoma Police Department door hanger, as if, some officer was there. And read the thing, and it's actually from animal control that a, quote, neighbor, unquote, filed a complaint about my dog barking too much. And this neighbor, as a matter of fact, both neighbors on either side of me have dogs. And the one who I know is the one that filed the complaint has a dog bigger than my dog that barks incessantly at us. Even when we're in the house, this dog can hear us in the house. And it's just all day long. Woo! Woo!
Yeah,
I can hear it coming from the next door house.
But
she's got a dog. Actually, she had two dogs at one point. Maybe she only has one now. But the gall, the unmitigated gall of it's a thorn in the side mentality,
Well, it is. But isn't this the same neighbor that came over to the house? And,
raising hell, same one.
Trespassing on your property, raising hell, making false accusations.
The same one that was in touch with Wolven, actually, because before it all started, the way Wolven let us know that, hey, we got your neighbors, is kids were out here in the garage having an argument and got to yelling, got kind of loud, and this is at the same time when Wolven was all over the blogs, writing 1,000 words a day. And within 20 minutes of this argument in the garage, there was a blog post up there going, "Ooh, Randy, your kids sure are loud."
Well, of course. And let's bring up the fact once again, which we've covered in the past, that Michelle Wolven has been proven to be a liar. She has made false charges. She went to these clinics, abortion clinics, and
oh, we got a break.
Oh, here's the break. We'll finish up because I have more to say about Michelle Wolven, the liar. The liar.
She doesn't appear to be doing anything now, but she uses others.
satellite contacts.
Right.
Oh, I'm just a paranoid conspiracy freak, that's all.
See, you're the one telling the dog to bark. Okay, we are back from the break, and what we were discussing again was all this nonsense of harassment, excuses to make our lives miserable. If that were not enough, why they already have done, and the additional they're trying to do. Well, we got to step up the harassment at the house. Obviously, they have to. That's their thought. We have to do that because they cannot be left alone even at home. So let the air out of the tires, banging at the door, complaining about the dog barking. It's just totally infantile, ridiculous. It's just an excuse to spread. My opinion is to spread terror. So,
well, it is, Dr. Carpenter. I would define that as terrorism. When you harass somebody to that extent where there's no peace, you're stealing the peace of that person. You're stealing the peace. You're preventing the quiet enjoyment of that person in their own home.
And it's not my home, but this is my daughter.
But I understand. But what I'm saying is that, they're harassing your whole family, right? Yeah. And this is such a typical tactic, especially if they're able to recruit some cowardly neighbors. They have to be cowards. Nobody but a coward would ever agree to become part of a harassment campaign. And we were talking about Michelle Wolven, which I don't want to go on and on about her, but except to say, we were cut off at the break, that Michelle Wolven filed quite a number of false charges for, quote, assault against people that never touched her. And when she dragged these individuals into court, including police officers, by the way, she dragged these individuals into court and threatened to drag others into court, where she was blocking access, obstructing people's access to a clinic. She gets on the witness stand and admits that she lied. She admits, he never touched me. Or the sister-in-law, Michelle Wolven's sister-in-law, nobody ever touched her. So how is this allowed to go on? Okay, this woman is obviously a liar, and she's proven as a liar over and over. There's records. There's records from the court, which I have posted on my website, by the way. Anybody can type in Michelle Wolven and my name, Barbara Hartwell, and you will find the court records that I had posted there. The woman is a liar. She is filing false charges against all kinds of people that have done nothing. And now she's is part of this harassment campaign, persecution campaign, where she contacted your neighbors and somehow recruited them into this harassment campaign. And what is anybody doing about it? Nothing.
Nobody's doing anything. They are free to do that. Yeah, it's just disgusting, and I kept getting insulted, and I cannot do anything about it. I can get attacked, and they're just trying to tell me, basically indirectly tell me, you're not wanted. You are organized crime, and you have to be prosecuted because...
Yeah, but they're the organized crime. That's the truth. Those people, anyone connected to them... Do
you remember how they do it to mafia boss? That's what they're trying to do to me.
You took the words right out of my mouth, Dr. Carpenter, because this is racketeering. It's organized crime. That's what they are doing. And, I've had similar situations that happened to me in my life. And the one thing that I can mention, that this was a few years ago. Okay, well, maybe more than a few, but maybe it was like 2006, I think this happened.
That's a few years ago, yeah.
Okay, all right. So I had a home, which I'm not living in anymore, but at that time I had a home in the same basic area where I live now. And what they did is they installed some, quote, neighbors, okay? These were not neighbors. They were professionals, okay? And they set up a surveillance operation. They moved these people into the house, okay? They had plenty of resources and money to do that. And then what they would do is they would do everything in their power, aside from surveillance. They hacked into my computer from right across the street. They had all kinds of high-tech equipment. They would follow me when I would walk just to go down to the beach, take a walk to the beach. They'd follow me there. They would follow me with video cameras. Okay, and then at one time, I had a person who was a friend of mine. He was also ex-CIA, and he came to visit me. And he was actually doing some work on my computer, which they had basically hacked into and destroyed a number of computers. And he came kindly to help me because he was one of my supporters and he knew what I was dealing with. And as soon as, he left the house, and he had to drive a couple hundred miles even to get to see me. And as soon as I walked him out to his car, they were on the scene. They bolted out of their house, and there was this skinhead, this big burly military type looking guy, a skinhead, and he practically, he came striding down the street as if he was going to run me over, just walking. And I just stood there. I stood my ground, and he passed by me within just less than an inch. He didn't hit me. If he had hit me, if he had touched me physically, then there would have been a problem, a real problem, okay, because I would have responded. But he didn't. They do everything to provoke. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They're doing surveillance. They know who we are. They know that we're trying to stand up for liberty.
Intimidation. That's what it is. Intimidation.
But they don't intimidate me.
No, but that's their game.
But that is the game. And the problem is, the unfortunate problem about all this is most of the people who they try to intimidate cave.
Yeah.
And that's the thing that makes me heartsick. Because guess what? If you don't stand up, you are a sovereign person. I personally, I'm a sovereign child of God. I stand my ground. I am a law-abiding person. I have no tolerance, zero tolerance for this kind of activity, this intimidation tactics, harassment. I have no tolerance. But guess what? They come to people that are around you, okay, including your family, your friends. Sometimes you find out these people are not your friends because they're so frightened by these government agents that instead of standing up for the right thing, they'll betray you or abandon you. And that's what needs to stop. It needs to stop because this affects all of us in this country. No matter what the issue is, the issue is liberty. It's unalienable, God-given rights and liberty. And we have those rights, and nobody has the right to take them from us. They're not issued by the government. They're issued by God.
And to me, one of the major freedom being in control of your life, being in control of what you do to your body. So how can they say, no, you cannot offer this treatment, even if people want it? No, you cannot because we decided it's a fraud. Well, what bigger fraud than standard treatment? It only hurts people. They don't make it.
Standard treatment is genocide.
It is.
It's genocide.
And it's no simple genocide, through torture, because these poor patients are tortured with the treatment.
They're tortured to death. Yeah. That's how it works. And this brings me to the issue of an attorney, okay? You need an attorney. You need somebody because you're being falsely accused, you're being harassed, you're being persecuted. You've already lost almost everything you have. You lost your home, you lost your office, you lost your business, your furniture, your
vehicles,
and 2 vehicles, both of which were taken from you.
One way or another.
One way or another, one through a so-called accident, which was no accident. And the first vehicle was taken from you because it was stolen, and then you found out it was used in a robbery. Did you get your vehicle back? No, because you couldn't afford to pay the fees or fines or whatever. You, the victim of the crime. So you forfeited 2 vehicles, the second of which was totaled when it was smashed and turned on its side. I mean, this is outrageous. And that's what I'm trying to get through here, that we need to generate some kind of public outrage. If people are going to sit by and watch this happening and do nothing, and if nobody can step forward to help you, to defend you, somebody that has the means to do that, then this country is going to hell in a handcart.
Because today is happening to me, tomorrow's going to happen to everybody, and it's already happening to a lot of people, and it's only going to increase. What really got me completely disgusted, and I don't know, John, did you follow the Brzezinski case?
Yeah, I did follow it a little bit, and I know somewhat about his case and treatment, and so apparently, let me get this right, it was supposedly a victory, but the guy basically promotes the standard chemo treatment.
Don't touch that mouse.
So how is that? So he's not really an alternative.
No, he's not. But do you want to know more about how this victory was reached? Okay. One of my patients she works for an attorney office. Okay, we are back for the second hour, and as usual, we didn't hear the music for the end of the first hour, so we didn't warn you that it was coming. I'm sorry, but we can hear the sounds. So this time, I didn't hear the voice that says the medical conspiracy, but I heard the music. So we're back. And before the break, I was asking John if he was familiar with what was happening with Brzezinski, and then everybody's talking about victory, victory, victory. And apparently, from what I heard from another sources, the victory is that he finally can file for FDA approval of his drugs, because before he couldn't do it with the explanation that only drug company can file for FDA approval, not an individual. That's what I heard from one of my former patients. And that's pretty ridiculous, but basically he won in court the right to file for FDA approval. Now I'm asking you, do you think that that's something that should happen? No. But as far as his victory is concerned, I don't know exactly how much his lawyers cost him, but this patient of mine found out all this information because she was looking for an attorney for me, and she was told that you have to have somebody really specialized for this type of situation, this type of, alternative practitioner being attacked, and there are special lawyers, and they have to know what they're doing, they have to be expert and everything. So they gave her reference of 2 people. One supposedly still thinking about it, but another one turned out to be one of the attorney in the Brzezinski team of lawyers. The main lawyer of Brzezinski is Jaffe, and I talked to him one time 3 years ago, and I have no respect for the guy, but that's the main attorney. This guy that she contacted is one of the team. He's not Jaffe. It's just one of the team. And he told her that, oh yes, these sort of things happen all the time. People that do alternative things get attacked, and it's always a problem, and all these sorts of comments. And he said that yes, he knows how to deal with it. He knows how to handle it. Although my opinion is, if it took 15 years to fix the Brzezinski's case, I am not sure that that's knowing how to fix it. But anyway, that's what he said, that he would do it, and he can do it. And his fee, of course, on contingency is out of the question, but the fee, $1 million. How can a human being even say something like that with a straight face? $1 million?
especially Dr. Carpenter, to a person like yourself who has literally lost just about everything you owned.
Yeah, but Barbara, even if I hadn't lost everything I own, I would have never been able to come up with that kind of money.
Of course not. Of course not.
Because I was always treating the patient with the minimal amount required for me to keep up my business. All I did is not just cover all the costs, pay the personnel, and really minimal, if any, revenue, just covering my expenses, not real revenue for me, whatever was left. So I tried to make this treatment something for the common, everyday American, for everyday people, because that's what I feel it should be.
And Dr. Carpenter, I understand that because you developed the treatment, not only because you care, that you see the suffering, the massive suffering that goes on with people, okay? But also you made it available and cost effective. So somebody who doesn't have $250,000 or whatever to go to some rip-off hospital that's going to kill them in the end, right?
Right. They can, but also they shouldn't have it, because even if my thought was this, okay, average American, I'm not talking about the crook on Wall Street, I'm not talking about those people, pharmaceutical, big wig, no, I'm talking about everyday American that have to earn a living, that have to go to work every day so they can pay their bills, okay? I wanted to, and they are the ones that, if they get cancer, they are thrown into poverty because they can't work and they lose everything they might have gotten, namely mostly their house. That's the biggest possession they have. They lose everything because of the medical and the cancer industry. And I was trying to help them. They are the one who need help. And the solution is simple. It's for everybody, but I want to help them, not somebody super rich, super wealthy. No. They can find other things. They don't have to. They can go to Brzezinski.
Well, yes, Dr. Carpenter, and I wanted to mention this too because it's very important to me that, you know, I have a condition that was forced upon me again by the same kind of situation that you are in, where I was hit. There were a number of so-called hits. I'm talking about, they were not accidents. They were crashes, okay? And I got injured in every single one of these. And the last one that I got injured was in 1998. And, of course, I don't have any money. I have nothing, okay? And because I couldn't get any kind of treatment, nothing, it developed. I injured myself. I think I didn't injure myself. They did it. I was hit by a truck. Just like what happened with you. Only I had a tiny little foreign car, okay? That's what I had. The car was totaled, and I ended up with really bad injuries to the cervical vertebra, okay? And over time, it developed into severe osteoarthritis, which is extremely painful. Now, I do know, because you told me, that the treatments you have or the technology you have can also help with this kind of a condition. And yet, because of what they're doing to you, that would not be available to me, okay? So I just have to live in pain 24/7, just like many other people who could be helped and healed by the technology that you've developed. Isn't that true?
Absolutely. And I can also, you know how people develop diabetic sores and they never heal? Mm-hmm. I can heal those.
Oh, I believe it. You know,
I can. I've done it. And I'm just saying, but no, I can't. I'm not allowed because it's too simple. I cannot do that. And I cannot be messing with the cancer.
It takes the big money and the big power away from the medical mafia and the big pharma who are raking in billions and billions of dollars on other people's misery.
John, do you have anything to say about this?
Well, I mean, yeah, through my research, I've seen one of the biggest takers in the medical mafia, as I like to call them as well, is the Rockefeller Foundation. seems to have their hands in there like a dirty shirt. But also, I noticed that Lance Armstrong's been in the news a lot with his anti-doping stuff, like as if anyone really cares. But the Livestrong Foundation has raked in over $500 million since its inception. Oh. So, and that's all going to the cancer mafia. All these phony foundations to, the Run for the Cure and all this nonsense. It's just a big cash cow.
Yeah, nobody's looking for the cure. And you know what? I don't know how you feel about it, but I think that they've been using Lance Armstrong just for the medical mafia, because they were saying, see, this guy had cancer, testicular cancer, by the way, and yeah, he's still doing great. He's an athlete. He's winning all these things, even though he went through standard treatment. He survived. He's great. And all this chat room that say, see, Lance Armstrong is so great. That was pushed to win all these things, to show, see, you can still have a full life even after you go through the torture standard treatment. That was the idea. We got a break. We'll continue this. Okay, we're back from another break, and John was talking about all the money and the racket about these cancer foundations, so we are gonna let him.
Yeah, well, I find it ironic how, all the big mainstream news stories are all about Lance Armstrong and this, whether or not he was doping when he was cycling, and it really should be about the corruption of the fraudulent, cancer cash cow for the cancer mafia that he's running, that's taken in over $500 million. And what's interesting is here in Canada, we have the Terry Fox run, and I guess it was back in the 80s, actually. Terry Stanley Fox was a Canadian athlete and cancer research activist in 1980. With one leg having been amputated, he embarked on a cross-country Canada run to raise money and awareness for cancer research. Although the spread of his cancer eventually forced him to end his quest after 143 days, 5,373 kilometers, and ultimately cost him his life, his efforts resulted in a lasting worldwide legacy. The annual Terry Fox Run was first held in 1981 and has grown to involve millions of participants with over 60 countries, and is now the world's largest one-day fundraiser for cancer research. Over $500 million has been raised in his name. So that's from 1980 and up until now. And Lance Armstrong's foundation, Livestrong Foundation, has not been around that long, and he's already got $500 million. So, yeah, that foundation is a huge cash cow. For,
and it's going what, to research?
Probably research and stuff like these preventative measures and chemo treatments, mastectomies. Oh. I wouldn't doubt that some of it does go to the current treatment as well as research.
Yeah, I am not really sure. Like the Coma Foundation, the Race for the Cure, they claim it's for research, but actually almost nothing of the money goes into research. So I don't know. They claim there is research, but is there? Oh. And how do you verify that?
Dr. Carpenter, also, every year where I live up here in Maine, every year there's some kind of how they have these runs, people join in and then they do this run, whatever, 5 miles or whatever. And we have a similar thing. I don't even remember the name of it. But again, it's in the name of a person. I don't remember her name, but she died of cancer. And the people are all very sincere. They don't know.
They don't know.
The brother of the woman, every year, I've been at the event simply because my church participates. It's usually on a Sunday, and we go out after the church service, and we stand on the sidewalk on the main street, and the runners go by, and it's like the brother comes and he's perfectly sincere. I completely support him. He runs down the road, shaking our hands and everything. And what is really happening here? That's the saddest part. It's tragic to me. is that what they're raising this money for, what the people pay to participate, oh, we're going to beat cancer, okay, is just part of the whole fraudulent system. And nobody knows it. Nobody understands that this is not going to do anything to help. It's not going to find a, quote, cure for cancer. It's just going to torture more people, rake in more big bucks for the medical mafia. And that's what actually just sickens me. I mean, I stood there on the street with actually tears streaming down my face. I was there just standing there with the people from church, thinking to myself, oh my God, you know, I mean, here's the brother of this woman who died, and all these people thinking they're doing something great. They're going to contribute to wiping out cancer. But no, they are not. They are not. And I can also tell you, Dr. Carpenter, which I've never stated publicly, certainly not on this program, but I can tell you that both of my parents died, not of cancer. They both had cancer. My father died at the age of 55 in 1976. My mother died at the age of 65 in 1993. And what did they die of? They died of chemo and radiation. And I watched them both die. I was there at the hospital on the last day crying, and that made such an impact on my life that when I first heard about your treatment, and even before I knew you, I heard the commercials. They were on RBN and GCN and other radio stations. I heard those commercials, and I thought to myself, just in the spirit, I had a feeling, whatever this is real. And when I got to know you and I researched on my own, I discovered that, yes, indeed, it is real. And it could have saved both of my parents' lives. It could have many others.
Many people. Because, let me tell you, you said your father died in 1986?
No, he died in 1976. Okay, He was only 55 years old. Okay. My mother died in 1993. And both of them, it was like, as soon as it was diagnosed, okay?
Yeah.
It was a short time before the radiation and the chemo killed them off. And if somebody has not witnessed this, if somebody has not experienced this to somebody they love, then I wouldn't wish it on anybody. But it's the story of my own experience in my own life. And it's one of the reasons why, okay, aside from just the aspect of liberty and standing up for the truth, it's why it's affected me so deeply.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't have said your father was too early, 1976, but because I didn't have it.
No, well, I know, but what I'm trying to say is that there are many people
that would not have died. Many.
Number of friends, okay, good friends, people that I loved, people from my church, too. I told you stories.
Yeah.
There were several people from my church who I saw disintegrate in exactly that way. And in the end, I was told, oh, they're resting comfortably now because people don't know any better. They're killed with morphine in the end after these horrific radiation and chemo treatments. And that's what killed them. It wasn't the cancer.
No.
I saw it happening. And, I am just heartsick. I'm heartsick over all this. And to think that a person like you, who has developed something that actually works and cures and helps and heals people and kills the cancer, this person is being persecuted and nobody is going to stand up. You can't find an attorney to say, I will help because I care, not because I just care about you, but because I care about everybody and I care about all the people that are, in my opinion, it's genocide. They're being murdered.
They are being murdered because there is no need to die of cancer. There is no need, not at all. And that's what I keep saying, and that's why I'm being accused of being a fraud, because I say there is no need to die of cancer.
But if anybody wants to know, okay, if anybody that's accusing me and all these idiots and minions that are out there of the government tyrants, and they're accusing me, oh, I'm not a real person, whatever they're saying about me. No, I'm doing this because I care, because it's affected my life. And I don't want to see it to happen to anybody else, including anybody that's close to me or anybody that I don't even know. I don't care who you are. Nobody should have to go through that because of government tyranny.
And we got to.
Free speech guaranteed. You're listening to the Orion Talk Radio Network.
You're listening to The Medical Conspiracy with Dr. Carpenter.
Okay, we're back from another break, and I wanted John to give his input on an opinion on results of standard treatment. So,
well, I mean, most of the people I know that have had some type of cancer, they didn't end up good after their treatment. A very small percentage actually, supposedly beat the cancer and are still ticking today. But most of the people I know, relatives or friends that went through the treatment and then died a year or two after they supposedly beat cancer. So, yeah, the success rate doesn't seem to be too good, and the cancer rate seems to be going through the roof. I don't know what to make of that, but a lot of younger people I know are turning up with cancer left, right, and center now.
My only conclusion on that one has been talking to different patients is medication. Medication causes cancer. Medication used today causes cancer. That's why we have more and more and younger people getting cancer. That's why. And the cancer treatment hasn't improved either.
Dr. Carpenter, one thing I wanted to say is that I think I told you this on the first program where I ever came on the air with you, was that I don't believe in traditional allopathic medicine. Yeah. I don't believe in drugs. I don't take drugs. And all that I've ever seen as a result of drugs, for whatever the purpose that they were used, whether they were psychotropic drugs or drugs to supposedly handle some condition, some medical condition or whatever, is just misery and suffering. And so I don't take drugs. I've always just used for many, many years, decades, since all my adult life, like 40 years, I've used only just naturopathic medicine, and there's no harmful side effects. Okay, I'm not talking about cancer because I don't have that, but I'm talking about just the herbs that grow on the earth that God created. And I believe as a Christian that God created our bodies, and I believe that there's a system in place that heals our bodies. The body will heal itself given the proper treatments. Just like the treatment that you have found something that allows you to destroy only the cancer, and then the body itself throws off the dead tissue and the body heals itself. And so I do believe that drugs are not only a cause of cancer, but they're a cause of many, many other miserable illnesses that people don't have to have.
Like, for example, they keep saying how diabetes is running rampant now. And, of course, what they do, they have to find the blame, and the blame are the sodas, okay, what we drink. No. there are a lot of medication taken for different causes that cause diabetes.
Well, yes.
It is proven.
I haven't watched television for over 30 years, okay? I mean, I don't watch television. I don't have any kind of hookup or anything. But at the times when I was at somebody's house or, some public place and there was a TV, I've seen these drug commercials and they're like, oh, do you have restless leg syndrome? Yeah. And then they're giving these drugs. Oh, ask your doctor if this is right for you. And meanwhile, all the side effects are, I can't even imagine why anybody with something so stupid, restless leg syndrome, they're going to take these toxic drugs.
Well, actually, do you know what causes they're actually the restless leg syndrome? They call that, but what the name is stupid, but actually is that the muscle fire out of control, okay? You're trying to relax and you can't. And you know what causes that? Antidepressant cause that.
Oh, I believe it. Oh, yeah.
Drugs are causing all these syndromes that are being named every day. They're coming out now. They're medication that cause that.
And then they prescribe more medication.
Absolutely.
Which has very extreme and toxic side effects. And the person just continues to go downhill into a black hole of illness. And it doesn't...
Till they die.
To be happening. That's right. And it doesn't have to be happening.
Because if you remember, in the old days, people were living to whatever age. They were living in the 90s and they weren't taking any medication. They weren't taking anything. They were not in nursing home. They could take care of themselves.
That's right. And their families also, if people did get old, their families at that time would take care of them because they had respect and love for the elderly people that brought them up. Their the parents or grandparents. And
that's a whole story. You're little, you need help, and your parents do that. When they get old, you are there to help them. Yeah, I mean,
that's what I believe God wants and God created. Okay, and in this society, it's just. We'll just kill them all off and let God sort them out, which God has nothing to do
with it.
No.
I know. And then, morphine, but morphine is making them comfortable.
Yeah,
see?
making them comfortable.
We are making them comfortable.
Resting comfortably. And it's all I can do when I hear something like that. Even at my church, when I heard there's a couple of people that had cancer and they were dying from the treatment. And then the people from the church, I'd go into church. Oh, I'd ask, how is this person doing? Oh, she's resting comfortably. And I was like, have to restrain myself from screaming.
Did you ask her if she or him, if they were really comfortable? Did you ask him?
No, because I never saw the person after.
No, I'm just saying, the person that was said they're resting comfortably. How do you know they're comfortable? Did you ask him?
That's right. No, I know. I know.
The nurse tell you they are. That's a lie.
The whole thing is that it's a whole system of destroying people, and who is benefiting from this system? It is the medical mafia, big pharma, raking in their billions of dollars while they kill people, and other people are completely deluded into thinking, oh, well, they did the best they could and they're resting comfortably. No.
No, they are being killed off. Okay, another thing was, when the patient, in town here in Tulsa, there is cancer, the famous Cancer Center of America that does so well. It does so great alternative things. Actually, what they do is standard treatment. They only give you some supplements, and then they starve you with their healthy diet. And that's what their alternative methods are. Well,
yeah, healthy diet.
Well, there are motels. Some stay there at Cancer Center of America. Some go to nearby motel, and those are motels that give discount to cancer patients. Well, it just so happened that my patient were going there also. So there was the Cancer Center of America patients and my patient. Okay, the Cancer Center of America patient come in and they were okay. The day they came in and they were okay. And then as the week would go by, they got worse and worse and worse. They couldn't do anything, come back out of the treatment from Cancer Center of America and just go to bed. They couldn't do anything. They were feeling sick. They were a mess. My patient, they were going back to the hotel, change clothes, go out to dinner, go be tourists. They were looking at sites, going to different places, having a good time because they were feeling great. Maybe their bodies weren't degenerating from the drugs and the chemo and the. But also they were feeling better. Maybe the first day after treatment, some people were kind of sore and they were not at their best. But after a few days before they left, everybody said, I feel great. I feel myself again like I haven't felt in years. Why? Because the cancer was dead and their body wasn't fighting anything anymore. Well, they were back to normal. Yes, I understand that, Dr. Carpenter. I think we don't have maybe like 15 minutes left, but... Well, we have the next break. There should be another break coming up. But after the break, I really would like to talk more about this issue of you getting some kind of legal counsel and representation, because the persecution... there it is, the break. Okay. Yeah. Okay, when we come back, we'll continue after the break. Okay, we are back from the break again, and John has something else to add about the race for the cure in Canada, particularly.
Right. This is with the Terry Fox Marathon that started in 1981. Now, I was born in 1982, so I went to public school, and across all the schools in Canada, I remember from a little kid running around once a year for the Terry Fox run, and we were fed all this propaganda, video footage. And they show us Terry Fox, the guy with the fake leg who tried to run across Canada and died across cancer. Nothing against him. He had all the right motives behind him. But where did all this money go? It went to the cancer mafia. So all of us children from a young age were fed this propaganda, ran around as little propaganda agents, and then raised money for the cancer mafia without even knowing it. And, that's in the 80s. Yeah. So it just dawned on me. I didn't ever really realize how they really used not just me, but all the other Canadian children.
Wear the pink ribbon.
Yeah, now it's the pink ribbon thing, right? And the Terry Fox run still goes on every year. So you still have the Terry Fox run in the schools, right? And everything. Yeah. Yeah,
and then we had, like you were saying, the Lance Armstrong thing. So I told you it was all connected with the medical mafia thing. That's why they pushed him. And anyway, okay. Yeah. Okay, and Barbara was saying, in view of what's going on, it's legal to raise money for all these things on the fake. Those are fake pretenses, saying that you're raising money for the cure and then you're spending a really limited amount of money, if any, for research, and you're actually putting all the money to help people that cannot afford it to get standard treatment. Well, yes, Dr. Carpenter, and also the so-called research that they're doing. Okay, I mean, this is just a particular issue for me. I don't know how many people are concerned about this, but a lot of the cancer research, so-called, that they're doing is they torture animals to death in a laboratory, okay? And nothing is accomplished by this. Nothing whatsoever, which is why... They torture people also. And they torture people also. You're correct. But my point is that in the theaters, I can even remember... I don't remember the last time I went to a movie, but even going back years, if I went to a movie, I just went out to see a movie, they would have this stupid commercials about cancer research, and then they would have somebody coming around with some kind of a cup, right, to donate to this. And I stood up in the theater. I remember a couple of times I stood up and said, why are you doing this? I'm not contributing to this. You're just torturing animals and you're torturing people, and I want no part of this. And, of course, they were all looking at me, right? But, no, I'll stand up and tell the truth because I'm not donating a dime
I'm not donating a dime to torture people or animals for a fraudulent cause that's only killing more people.
And that is where the real fraud is. That is a fraud. It's misleading the public, raising money. And we are running out of time, and we can talk about this next week. But I found a report on another research that had discovered something about melanoma. And of course, what the bottom line and their explanation on what they have discovered supposedly and everything. But what's the bottom line? Oh, this is really expensive. It can resolve the problem. It's really expensive. So it needs a lot of money. But in the end, guess what? We might be able to find the drug.
Yeah, a drug.
A drug, nothing else. That's all they want to hear, and that's all what it is.
I know we don't have much time, but I just really, I need to say, please, if anybody out there is listening who knows an attorney or who is an attorney who cares, not just an attorney who cares about Dr. Carpenter, an attorney who cares about the future of this country and health freedom and the lives of the millions of people that are being tortured and dying every year from this fraudulent cancer industry. That's what it is.
Which is totally unnecessary now because the solution is here. Whether they want to hear it or not, the solution is here. And this is like the case of Galileo. Eventually, probably not in my lifetime, it will be recognized. But in the meantime, they're destroying me, my life, everything I do, and they're killing people by the thousand, hundreds of thousands.
That's right. And it's genocide. And what I don't understand is why these attorneys are always demanding, I have to have this amount of money or that amount of money up front. Doesn't anybody care?
Besides, they could care. But they could also, they want a little bit of money now. They could take the government for a ride. There is no telling how much money they could get if they did it right. Yeah, it might take some time that they can. No, nobody's interested in that effort. Well, they want to do something quick and easy.
Dr. Carpenter, is if we, the people, as individuals, we the people are individuals. It's not a collective. If we, the people, as individuals, don't stand up for others who have something extremely valuable to offer and who are being persecuted, I mean, that's just obscene, in my opinion. Obscene.
But it's also self-destructive because if it's true the statistic that they have out there, that 1 in 8 Americans will come down with cancer. Well, an extended family average size is 8 people. So that means that every family in this country will have a member that will get cancer, according to the national statistics.
And will not be able to get a valuable, workable treatment
easy
that destroys, that's easy and doesn't cost only a fraction of what they're
a minuscule fraction, because get this. Oh, but I have insurance. Well, do you know that with the cancer, even if you're on Medicare, you're responsible for 20% of the cost of the medication you're getting. When the medication hit $250,000 at least, which is 6 months of chemo. $250,000 is only 6 months of chemo. Does not include the radiation and does not include the fact that you're not very likely to only need, according to the medical establishment, 6 months. You're going to need a year, maybe 2, if you live that long. So, say the minimum, 6 months of chemo, $250,000. Do you know what 20% of that is? $50,000.
Who has that kind of money? That's the thing. Who has that kind of money to kill themselves?
I know.
I implore anybody listening. I just implore anybody listening who is an attorney, who knows an attorney, to contact Dr. Carpenter, somebody who cares about the future of this country and health, freedom, and just liberty of self-determination.
Yeah. It just, I don't know. I don't know what to say. I mean, I understand that unless it hits you, you don't. And by the time it hits you, it's too late to fix it. I had a patient say, well, I want you to check, because I don't trust anybody. I wanted to check how my tumor is disappearing. It's disappearing. Don't worry how fast or how slow it is. But anyway, a lot of patients say that, and I do get a lot of calls about that. And they say, I want to come and see you. Well, so you can double check. Well, I don't know. It depends. I might not be here. Who knows what they're going to do? So that's the problem. I might not just for the ones that want to be checked, but also the ones that can be helped easily. And I won't be able to do it, because that's the plan. Not allow me to help anybody. And actually, they're going after the ones I've helped, they're trying to convince them that they're not okay, and they have to go in for standard treatment so they can remove the breast or the growth they had, so they can remove the evidence. Nobody can double check that the tissue is actually dead. And then after that, give them all sorts of medication to kill them off. So they silence them, and nobody can stand up. So the ones that, yeah, go ahead.
We're out of time, Dr. Carpenter. I don't know what I hear in the background here.
Are we? Not quite, but close.
We got about a minute.
Yeah, we got about a minute. So we presented what we could, and I thank John for helping, and you, Barbara. I don't know, okay? I have no...
And Vince, yeah, I see you in the chat room, buddy.
Oh,
thanks.
Hi.
Yeah, I want to thank John, too. Thank you, John, for standing up with us.
Yeah, and tune in tomorrow from noon to 3. Dr. Carpenter is supposed to be on our show.
Okay. Yeah, so we're going to talk more about all this horrible thing. Oh, gosh, I don't know. Sometimes it's really depressing. Do you know that every time I hear a song from the Bee Gees, I start crying? Because Robin Gibb was killed. They let him die for nothing because they had to support the system. I cannot stop from crying. I go out and see somebody that is obviously going through chemo, has no hair and has no eyebrows, nothing, and is wearing a stupid ball cap. It makes me cry. It's terrible.
Listen to some Ronnie James Dio next week or something.
I mean,
heavy metal icon. He got killed by this stuff too.
Yeah, he was. Oh, man.
Mm-hmm. Not sure what kind of cancer it was, but he was in the system. He had, the best of the best.
Thank you for listening.
And he's gone.
Medical Conspiracy with Dr.
Well, we're trying to stop more people from being killed.
And I do believe I hear the music.
Yes, I think we are. The show is over, so we'll